Hi, what's up, y'all? We here for another live stream. Let's actually get started. Alright, so the first thing we do is check the red news for the day, and we have some at 8:30. So this red news is really good. Fast. The next thing we do is we're gonna check my accounts. I can show y'all that and then take any trades outside the stream. As you can see, everything is the same right there. Then check this account. And as you can see, everything is the same, right? Just haven't been finding those trades. So let's see what's going on the charts. Let's see. I ain't taking any trades here. Delete that. Hmm. Bitcoin may be in a good area right now. Let's see what's going on. Down, go down, look up. Now, I would give it, if price were to set up here, I would give it one chance. Like, it can't play around. The reason why is because of this right here. If you look closely on what's going on in price action, or we're in this like same price range right here. If I were to take advantage right here, I'm assuming that this would be the breakout of this overall range. But it needs to set up cleanly. It can't come any deeper. If it comes any deeper, then I will consider this invalid. So I like how prices actually move down perfectly like that. That's a good sign to me. So Bitcoin is something I would eye. Gold, not ready. USD JPY, not ready. US30, not ready. Meta, not ready. Euro USD, not ready. USD CAD, not ready. And USD CUT, not ready. Based on the time frame that I'm using. So even though I know USD CHF, I'm looking for overall shorts, overall longs, shorts, 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 longs, and longs. Even though I'm expecting that the price action isn't ready. So Bitcoin, I'm gonna be eyeing Bitcoin because I actually like how Bitcoin looks. So I'm gonna wait on my 5 minute time frame, and simply what I'm gonna be waiting for is this. everything pushed up, make a nice pause against the MAs. Also, buy step above the high for that. I will say I will only be able to enter into one account. Yeah, I'll only be able to enter into one account because um, crypto isn't available for Exify. price is dropping off a little bit. Let me see how it's looking at the higher time frame because I'm giving it only one chance to actually set something up. Yeah, it could still set something up here because it's pausing against the 10 to 20. But if it ends up failing right here, I would definitely just need like some type of break out of this range right here. Yeah, this absolutely makes perfect sense to me. So this still looks good because even though I was expecting a movement here, it doesn't matter where it happens. It could happen right here as well. It's starting to look like it can. So it's like, okay, it got 5 minutes. What I'm gonna actually do too as well is while I'm entering this trade, I'm gonna make sure I get into my funded account. That's the priority. But I'm also trying to get into phase two for my challenge. And if I have more time as well, phase two of my challenge. Yeah, yeah, it makes sense to me. Then if I have more time, I'll try to get into my other challenges because I have other ones as well. Let me. I'm gonna go. I'm trying to prepare it as it's going, so it's much easier if I'm gonna enter in so many accounts. So as long as it can close like something like this, the next candle pauses, rejecting against this 10 and 20, it doesn't break back through. Um, I'll I'll be happy to set a stop order to continue this price action higher. So mind you, all like I only got one trade this month on my funded account, so we following the process. A lot of people can't um just do the same old boring thing over and over. The process. That's what's the same old boring thing. It's just a process. I like this movement. This is absolutely perfect if we can close like that. Absolutely. Pretty wild spreads. It's actually moving nicely right now. Yeah, just like that. Minutes. So it has to reject. Interesting. Because I don't have enough leverage to really do what I want to do with the wrist. But it's okay. This still looks good. I would set a stop order if pressing close like that. Then if I have time, I'll try to enter into my other account. So yeah, this makes sense. Yeah, this looks good. If we can close like that, I'll set the stop and then see if we can continue through. Let's see. Yeah, we got like a minute left. Let me cover my hands over it. seconds, four, three, two, one. All right. So I set a buy stop. I'm gonna see if I can set one for my challenge account while I'm waiting. Let's see if I get an opportunity to even place it. Um, where is it? Bitcoin. Looks like it's about to go in, so I'm trying to hurry as fast as possible. Bitcoin, 5 minutes. If I don't get in, it's okay. By the way, yeah, I didn't get in, but I should be in the trade now. Or yeah, I'm in the trade. Finally, I got a trade. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna repeat the same actions where taking screenshots. So let me make sure. Let me see the actual pricing. 94,537. And, uh, there's a bit of price difference. Yeah, there's a bit of price difference. So what I'm gonna do is I know exactly when to break even. It should be at like around $600. Okay, just following on rules. We're gonna see what if I take a loss on the stream, but just following the rules. That's all trading's about. You show up every day and just follow the process. So just to let y'all know my plan, so y'all are on the same page on what I'm doing. Either I'm waiting for my stop loss to get hit, or I'm waiting for a one-to-one to break even, and I'm just gonna trail the rest of the position with the let me show y'all this black line, which is the 10 EMA. So basically, say I got into a trade right here, my management would be like holding on to the position until it closes under the 10. And if it's at least a 2R when it closes, I'll take the profit. If not, it will probably stop me out at break even. So yeah, right now I'm just waiting for a one-to-one break even, or if it can do this before the one-to-one where it's making like a fractal structure like that, that's valid as well. But yeah, one thing I gotta do as well, I'm gonna take these images so I can put it in my journal because I do journal my trades. And what's up, man? This is my second trade of the month. 30 minute, 5 hour. Download image. I'm gonna put that in after because the 5 minute moves, a bit quicker. So I need to be here looking at it to see what decisions I need to make. So yeah, there you go. So I'll just have y'all watch the P&L and everything. But make sure, like, when y'all trade in, don't think about P&L, think about risk. So whenever I trade, I don't think about just the P&L because if you think about the P&L, you're gonna want to close your trades when you're trading much bigger accounts. So my risk on this is like point 0.6, I think it's 0.63 exactly, which is around like 600 something dollars. And then this is the only account I'm in because FXify doesn't have crypto. Crazy thing is, I wasn't even expecting any trades today either. 'Cause Bitcoin was the only one that was looking clean in my eyes. Because everything else not looking like clean for me. If y'all want, I could do the analysis after on my thought process. Even if this becomes a loss, I'll do like an analysis on why I took this trade as well. So it looks like it's about to be a loss. And once it becomes a loss, I'm gonna take another set of images so I could put it in my journal after. All right, there we go. I only lost 400 something and then risk 600 something. So there we have it. We took a loss right here. And I'm gonna take these images and then I'm gonna explain why I took this trade right here. It was a very clean trade, so I'm very happy that I took this trade right here. Because if y'all see my other trades, if you look at my journal, this looks similar to my other trades as well. So I'm gonna quickly take this image. There we go. 30-minute. It could reset up as well. So in this area, just one more. Then I'm gonna put it in the load image right there. All right. So what I was seeing is like, okay, we go on the higher time frame. So 4 or 5 minute time frame. I usually use 3 to 4 time frames before deciding to take an entry. So one thing we could do is we can go on the higher time frame, something like the weekly, and we can see that Bitcoin we're overall on a bullish trend. And even though we had this massive sell off right here, it was just the purpose of making this weekly structure, basically. Then the daily, we just started. You can just basically to see the structure. All this bearish price action is for the purpose of continuing a high time frame trend. So that was my thought process. So the main time frames I use before going on the 5 minute is the 5 hour, the 30 minute, and then I go on onto the 5 minute. So the 5 hour, I wanted to see like basically a cycle of price. And the cycle of price is when we come to the 50 or if come under all the MAs. And usually when that happens, I expect 4 to 5 breaks of structure in the intended direction. So we come to the MAs right here. I call that a flush. We make the first one, first break of structure. We made the second one right here, pausing against the 10 and 20. So that's what I would like to see, right? On the 30 minute, basically, I want to see the same thing happen, right? So recently, where did we come under all the MAs? Right here. We came under all the MAs. That's the recent flush in the higher time frame context that price action is bullish. So we had that flush right here. Price came up, paused against the 10 and 20. I'll consider this like the first break of structure right here. And then right here, we pushed higher, paused against the 10 and 20. And I will consider this like the second potential break of structure. And then simply my entry setup is this, you know, an impulse, a small pause, and then I buy stop the high. Basically, I'm buy stopping fractal structure or buy stopping demand, whatever you want to call it. So that's it. So let me see. In order for me to even look for another entry, to see if this is even valid, I want price to like break above this high and then make the setup basically breaks above the high like this, makes a pause cleanly against the MAs, and as long as it doesn't take out this overall high, I'll set like another trade like right here if we can do that. So that's what I'm basically waiting for. So we have a bit of time before I can even expect that to happen. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna input those trades into my journal that I just took. I took a gold trade. No, that's not a gold trade. That's a Bitcoin trade. Right here. That's the 25th. I label this. Okay, Here we go. Session. Context. Yeah. And then we can just call it -1R right there. Structure. And get to break even. This was a regular account. So look at what's going on here. Here we go. And I'm gonna attach the files I have right here. Um, 5 hour context with bullish cycle. Validation with bullish cycle. I'm just trying to make it simple. I had the images and I understood what I did here. Then I'm gonna add the last 3 images. So not to do all quick pause. That don't make no sense. Here you go. Quick pause. Right there. There we go. Get the journal is there. And now I'm simply just waiting for a break of this high, and then I'm gonna wait for the same thing. The impulsive move, a pause that's rejects against the 10 or 20, but it doesn't break through the MAs again. And I set a stop. If I take another loss in a day, then I'm done for the whole day. That has always been my rule, but it doesn't usually get to the point where I take usually 2 losses in a day or even 2 trades in a day. It doesn't really get to the point that because I have there's a lot of patience installed in my rules, basically. So a good rule I have is just no more than 2 losses in a day and no more than 3 losses in a week. So you can see like how I can just limit my downside like that. It's a waiting game. Let's see what price does in this 30 seconds. It may potentially give me another opportunity. I'm just gonna have to see. But notice how I always got a plan. Make sure you always got a plan. I got stopped out. I didn't get too attached to the trade idea because I don't get attached to trade ideas. I, I just focus on the multiple trades combined because that's one good way to sabotage yourself is attaching yourself to one trade idea. I could have easily just maybe in this case it would have worked, increase my stop loss, but it wouldn't benefit me long term if it price ended up failing because the whole reason you have a stop loss is just an invalidation point to know when you're getting out if price wanted to like just look weird it just starts dropping off you saved yourself. So I'm gonna wait 5 minutes to see where this candle closes. If we can close above this high right here. The reason why I want to closure above the high is because I noticed that price can easily, if it's wicking through here, after it made this first one right here, and so when the first one we broke back through the MAs, it could easily start, chopping through the MAs like this if I don't get that break. I want a nice clean break. It's gonna give me more confidence to even take a second opportunity in this area. And remember, sitting here complaining about price stopping you out before going in your direction doesn't do anything for you. You know, it doesn't do anything for you. You just gotta accept that sometimes that happens. It literally happens to every trader because you, I feel like if you've been trading for at least maybe even like I'll say if you've been trading for at least 3 months, 3 to 6 months, like actual placing trades, then you would know that you probably experienced it at least once where you take a trade, it stopped you out, and then it goes in your direction. Because my stop loss was right here. Yeah, my stop loss was right here. So it took me out by this wick, and then it went back up. But it's looked like it could potentially set up right here. We can get this close right here. That would be perfect. So if we can get the close right here, it prints another candle before taking out the candle's high, and it's rejecting, like it's rejecting, or it doesn't break through the MAs again, and it doesn't clear this overall high yet, then I'm really happy with taking risk. That's the things you have to ask yourself when you're taking a trade. Am I happy with putting risk on this trade? So that like if you do take a L on a trade, it's like, okay, did you do everything nice right according to your plan? And it's like yes, then it's like nothing to worry about. It's the same boring thing, follow the process again. Sometimes you gotta think the opposite of how most people think. So the people that are constantly losing, you want to think like the complete opposite. You're gonna notice the people who are consistently losing, they all have the same type of mindset. And if you come across like the people who are actually, making money trading, it's all the same mindset. There's gonna be similarities. That's something you should study as well. So I'm gonna get everything prepared just in case it closes and it wants to do the setup. I'm not expecting it's gonna happen because the price can easily just start clearing the highs or it can start just dropping. You know, I'm expecting any possibilities, but so far it's moving in line so I can get something prepared. And notice how when I'm looking for a re-entry is because of my actual setup. I'm not re-entering a trade because I got stopped out. So I might not even get a trade, if you know what I'm saying. So we can basically not clear those highs in the 5 minutes. We cleared the highs right there. So I got to do more waiting. Let's see, is it going to clear the overall high right here? This is where the overall high is. Now I got to do more waiting. Trying to see if it wants to clear right here. Yeah, ended up clearing the highs, so I'm no longer looking at this area. It was a very good area, very good area. Setup looked clean in terms of what I expected. I just, it happens sometimes that you're gonna get stopped out before the move. So let me see. So I immediately move on, and then I come up with the next plan. So the next plan is basically what I say every time. So remember how I said after the flush, I expect 4 to 5 breaks of structure before we reflush like this. What do we have here? So we have the flush right here. This is the first one. And I want to be very clear about this area. The first break of structure that happened here, I didn't know this was going to be the first one right here. And the reason why I did not know this was going to be the first one is because the context of the market right here. If you look right here, price was in consolidation. So I wouldn't have known if I was here right here at price action, I wouldn't have known that this was going to be the first one. But the fact that price pushed higher and then did the same thing, this confirmed what this was right here. So the context of the market is basically the story of what the market is telling you. And without the context, without the story, you're not gonna have trades that are similar. Like basically, you're gonna be taking every entry pattern. You're gonna be trading the pattern. You don't want to be just trading the pattern. So that's the first one right there. That's the second one right here. So what am I expecting since I'm waiting for 3 to 4? I'm basically expecting for price to pause again against the 10 or 20. You can either make another move higher, pause again. But if it pauses again, as long as the lower time frame looks clean just like this, I want it to look exactly like this. Even though I took a loss in this area, I wanted price to look exactly like this because That's how my winning trades will usually look like, right? So it just makes sense to copy that. There's no need to change. A lot of people, their mindset would be to if they took a loss in this area, they're gonna be looking for something completely different than this area. Remember, I said think the opposite. I took a loss in this area. I'm looking for this exact same setup right here. So price needs to come down nicely and smooth right here. It may not look exactly like this, but the same context I'm expecting. Because think about price action is like a snowflake right here. Snowflake, it looks the same, but you look closer with the details it has is going to be slightly different. So, the next one may do something like this where we come down, right? We may chop around for a little bit. We may even come down even a little bit more, and then we push higher and make a clean setup like this. I mean, it kind of looks the same, but yeah. So on the entry time frame, the first thing that needs to happen is that it just comes down nicely to the 50 or close to the 50, under the 50 a little bit. All those are valid. Oh yeah, and then this needs to create a pause. So before I'm even on the 5 minute, I'm gonna skip the step. Yeah, I'm gonna skip the step. So I gotta wait for a pause right here, which is basically another candle printing before taking out this candle's high as it's coming down to that 10 and 20 like this. So just a lot of waiting. When you understand like the process it is for trading, that you start to understand anything you want to do, and like outside of trading it's the same exact thing. Anything you want, it all comes down to a process. Crazy thing is I was listening to this book. It's called, you might have heard from it, it's called The 50th Power by 50 Cent. It's the same thing they was talking about. They had multiple examples of other people on how they attained their goals. They first had their goals, and they, in order to attain their goals, they had to do the same repetitive, boring task. And a lot of people can't do the same repetitive, boring task over and over for a long period of time because they need that immediate excitement, the immediate they need that immediate result. So, and it's getting worse and worse over time, especially with technology. Like you can basically you can get that dopamine feeling anytime you want. You can go on your phone, scroll on TikTok, and you get that nice feeling. Um, what else? We got YouTube, we got entertainment. Like you can basically, you don't really have to do anything. Basically, you don't have to work hard. And that's really an issue, because if you have a goal, if you actually want to improve, the only way to get that goal is to work hard on that goal, because you have to do the hard now in order for stuff to be easier later. And a lot of people can't sacrifice doing the hard, because if you look at anybody that is really doing well for themselves, like extremely successful, a lot of people focus on, wow, this person is extremely successful, and they wish they want to be that person, instead of realizing the amount of hard work they took behind the scenes. Like I never wish myself to be another person, because you know you are you're the main character. Basically, you're the main character of your own story. So you working hard yourself, you could get that same exact result as somebody else. There's gonna be somebody out there that's wishing to be you. So it doesn't make sense to wish to be somebody else. You get what I'm saying? Like I could continue to come up with examples of hard work, like equaling results. Anybody that works out and has a nice body, anybody that works out and has a nice body, it doesn't come overnight. It comes from consistent hard work of doing the actual hard effort. And most people aren't going to be doing that. Most people are just, they want a comfortable life. Sometimes you got to realize that you're too comfortable in life. If you're not progressing, that means you're too comfortable. And you can honestly tell if you have progressed even by 1% by just looking back at yourself and being honest. Have I even progressed? Have you came into the new year just coming up with a goal saying the same thing? Because a lot of people feel like the new year is the same every time, and that's because they're doing the same exact mistakes as last year. They come into the year writing down their goals, and 2 months, 3 months in, they they done forgot about their goals. Why did they forget about their goals? Because they didn't write down their goals. They didn't write down a map to get to the goals. Because if you don't have a map to get to the goals, you're just gonna be stuck. You're gonna be lost basically. And basically, I have a map on what goals I want to what goals I want to do, and I already started them from the beginning. Like when I make my New Year's goal, I do it every year. Make my New Year's goal, and then I start working on them. When I made my 2025 goals, I immediately started on them. And I, and the one thing I keep in mind with these goals as well is when I have these goals, I'm not I'm I understand that it's the process that's gonna get me to the goals. So my map to get to my goal is basically the process. Because the process equals results is basically my map. Well, I want to talk about this one trader. I watch him. I don't know if anybody watch him too. His name is Trader Nick. I watched him like I be watching him here and there, but I remember this one time he post. I forgot what year it was because he has his track record posted on his YouTube channel. There was this one year. I think it was 2022. He said or 2021, either one of those years, but it was a whole year where he was placing trades in every single like he was just in drawdown for that whole year. But overall, if you look at his performances, I think it's up 200 and something percent, 250%. I'm not sure, but it's over 200% for the since 2020, which is really good results. Do you know how much time, how much persistence, how much dedication, how much repetitive, how much repetitive boring action it took for him to keep trading his system during that whole period? Think about it. A lot of people they're so focused on the individual trades that whenever they get even a week of drawdown, they're panicking. Mind you, this professional trader, this trader that's overall up on his performance, had a one whole year, which really isn't ideal, but but I want to bring it up because it still took a lot of um just discipline, repetitive action of the same boring thing to even get out of it. Because if he didn't stick to the system, he wouldn't have got out of that drawdown. And he didn't need to over leverage to get out of that drawdown. He didn't need to do that. All he did was he showed up, he followed his system, and when his system wasn't there, he walked away. That's all he did. And mind you, I think y'all remember him saying this, but during that year, because he's public on YouTube, during that year, a lot of people were telling him to change his system. A lot of people was telling him his system doesn't work. A lot of people were criticizing him, right? Because most people don't understand what it actually takes to be profitable long in the long run. And those same people that were criticizing him, I they're most likely weren't even profitable in themselves. Because what I notice is other profitable people, they understand that they understand how long term performance work basically. And during his and another thing I noticed was during his good times where he was doing extremely well is where people will be asking, "What system are you trading? What is your win rate? What is this and that?" When all that doesn't matter, it doesn't matter you asking another person's win rate on a system. It doesn't matter at all because just because one person has this win rate, it doesn't mean you're gonna have it because you have to keep in mind you have to keep in mind their experience with trading that system versus your experience trading that system as well. It's not even though I may show you my system, you may not take the same trades as me. You may take different trades as me and stuff like that. So in order to get a better sense of your win rate on a trading strategy, you don't ask another person. Instead, you go ahead and figure that out yourself by doing the actual work, the repetitive, boring actions of back testing, which is very boring. You know, you're back testing all these trades, you're just inputting data, you're not making money, but you're just doing work. Nobody wants to do that. So do what nobody wants to do to achieve what they can't, basically. What they don't want to do to achieve what they can't. And mind you, everybody can achieve something. Every single body. Like I believe genuinely everybody on this planet can achieve their goals. And a lot of people will say that not everybody can be a trader, not everybody, but I do believe everybody can. And I'm not saying everybody should be, but I believe everybody can. And the reason why there's a difference between that because everybody can means basically if their mindset was shifted, if they just had a mindset shift, they can do it. But doesn't mean everybody should. No, because that may not be something they want to do. It may be too much stress for them, so they may not choose to do that. That's why I mean, like everybody can do it. Anything you have accomplished, it all came down to your mindset of actually being able to do it. It also comes down to actually loving what you do too. Because if you don't love what you do and you're only doing it for money, then you're gonna quit. So if you're like in the industry of trading, you gotta ask yourself, why are you really trading? Do you enjoy trading? Do you enjoy the process of learning to trade? Like even the first time where like I became full time with trading, I remember a lot of people were asking me like how do I trade, like how do we get started, and if I could teach them. Like the first thing I told them, because I honestly understand how beginners like think, and I don't want to like I never really like teaching complete beginners. I didn't really do it like that. I didn't do it much. I didn't do it on a big scale. I just did it with a couple friends. But the main thing I noticed is they think about the money too much about it. So whenever somebody had hit me up saying, "Oh, how do you make money trading?" I would tell them like the reality of trading first. I'll tell them the complete reality. I will tell them all the work they had to do, and usually after I would say that, they didn't want to do it no more. And I rather tell somebody the reality of trading rather than just, okay, I see you're a beginner, I'm gonna take your money, and then you're gonna find out later. So I'm saving them time. I saved them time when they came up to me by telling them the reality, so they can see, okay, is this for me? Do I want to endure that hard work of trying to learn how to trade? Because you're gonna see if somebody wants to endure the hard work, that means they're passionate about it, and they actually do it as well. And me just pushing them away also saves me time, because if I'm about to help somebody, I want to make sure I feel like they're actually gaining knowledge. And that's why I also put on these free videos as well, because it doesn't matter how much views the videos get, but if one person can get like good knowledge from it, then that's cool with me. And it also shows them the possibilities as well. Like if I can sit here, show up every day, you know, take my loss when it's needed, take my wins when it's needed, and walk away, stay disciplined, and do the same repetitive, boring actions, then you can train yourself to do the same thing. But it's all about just starting and actually doing the work. So only thing I'm waiting for right now is just for price to close in the next 30 minutes before taking out this high. Let me see what it's looking at. It. Yeah, it's looking um in line so far. So I just want that on close in the next 30 minutes because it's looking exactly like this basically so far. I just need it to come a little bit closer to that 50 as well. Yeah. The worst thing you can do is stopping your momentum. You always want to keep going. There's countless examples of like there'll be somebody that, okay, let's just say they got a viral video or something. I'm gonna use like different industries because it works. Basically, these concepts work with any industry. Somebody gets the viral video, and then after they get the viral video, they feel too comfortable, so they don't post anymore, or they don't post as often, and then all of a sudden their channel starts to die. Or another example, a trader, if a trader ends up getting a few payouts, right? And then because they got the few payouts, they stop doing the work that got them there, which is reviewing their journal, um making sure that they're doing the same thing exactly at their brag test, making improvements over time. Then they're not gonna improve as fast, or they may even get left behind because they're not doing the same thing that got them there. So I'm not saying that you got to be exactly like how you were in the beginning, because it's gonna get to the point where you don't have to. back test for how many hours you have straight, like 10 hours, 5 hours straight. You know, and it's not like you're gonna have to do that again. But it's still gonna get to the point where you still want to back test here and there. You still want to review your journal. You still want to undo all that work. Remind yourself, trading is just a business. It's your job basically. You gotta act like there's somebody watching you, like somebody's telling you, oh, you're hired today and this is your job. All you gotta do for your job is you have to show up at 8:30, 9 o'clock, and you're gonna look at these markets right here and you're gonna follow these rules right here. That's your job. And you're gonna get and the best thing is you're gonna follow this job if they pay you regardless. So imagine I say, okay, you're gonna follow my rules. Um, whether you take this loss on win or break even, and you're gonna get $1 million a year just by following these rules. And even if you don't take the trade for the day, you're still gonna be getting paid that salary. You're gonna follow those rules because you have no money attachment to it. So trading works well when you don't trade for money, basically. When you try to eliminate money problems. And how do you try to eliminate your money problems? Is by honestly just get like do your best to get other incomes in. And that could be like if you have a job, do you do you have a high paying job? Do you want to get a better paying job? Stuff like that. With your job, are you gonna start like a side hustle or something like that? Start a side business. But as long as you have money coming in, right? Trading gets a lot easier because now you're not looking at these candlesticks. You're seeing in the candlesticks, you're going to be seeing money when you're trading for money. Because I could guarantee you, if I was trading for money right now, I would have been chasing price action right now. Y'all would have saw some hell. Y'all would have definitely saw some hell if I was trading for money. So you wanna put things in place that allow you that allow you not to self sabotage yourself. So if you know that you're constantly thinking about FOMOing and and all of that, no, one, do the work of actually learning about your system, and two, have things in place where you don't really need to worry about money. And I'm not saying you gotta be rich or anything like that. I'm not saying you gotta. I'm just saying you just at least need to have certain sources of income, extra sources of income coming in. And a lot of traders online be thinking like, oh, if you even if you become like a profitable trader, like I still recommend, based on my experience of being full time, I still recommend having those extra sources of income because that's what really helped me when I'm not making money in trading, and it helps me with not even focusing on the charts because I'm not like those things are what really helps you. It helps you, especially when you have your living expenses now. When you have your extra sources of income, it helps you not use that savings up. Because it's not like, okay, if you have your 6 months to a year of living expenses saved up, it's not like it's gonna last forever. No, it's not. Especially if trading is your only source of income, right? And you end up anything can happen. You know, unexpected expenses, all that. They can life can kick you around in 1 month. So in order to prevent that, you can have these extra sources of income. And it doesn't mean that you can't trade. So like an example of this, if you're a really, really, really good trader, right? Even starting like a mentorship as well, which is not something I'm gonna be doing for because I want to really just hone in on my trading for now, maybe in the future, but right now, just focusing on my trading. But like if you're a really, really good trader and you start a mentorship, now you don't you don't necessarily have to trade, right? Because you have mentorship money coming in, but it doesn't mean that you can't trade. Then another thing that I noticed that doesn't make sense with the trading industry is if somebody's making money off of trading, right? But they're making more money off their mentorship, that doesn't mean that they're a scammer or they're a bad trader. Because think about it, if they still can make money trading, that means they know something. Because you got to think about it. 95, I think, yeah, 90 to 95% of people are losing money trading. Think about that. And if that person is making money trading, that means they know something, even though they making more money off the mentorship. Because stuff like mentorships, sales, anything that has to do with sales, it can easily be scaled way beyond your trading income because of the amount of people that's out there and the amount that you can charge as well. So that's certain things to keep in mind. Your trading income increases um two ways, but the best way your trading income can increase is by the compound effect. So that may take some time as well. There's also downsides to this. You have to make sure the person can actually trade because you don't want to get into the you don't want to be learning from somebody that's actually scamming you. Because I be seeing some things online, but I try not to really say too much about it because I'm trying to just stay in my own my own lane. I'm not one of them YouTubers that try to like expose people and, and stuff like that. I just try to stay in my own lane, show you my journey, and like be as real as possible when it comes to like my results. Yeah, just killing time talking while I got this 18 minutes. I wonder what other topics I can talk about. Mm, let's see. Let's see. The only thing that has been really, let's see, the only thing that's been in my mind this year in terms of my trading has been like the time frames I'm using. Because like if you look at my results from my challenge, like if you look at my journal, even my journal, because I input like my trades from my funded accounts and challenges as well. With my challenges, I typically like I switch time frames a lot. Yeah, I basically switch time frames a lot. And me doing so, I can find more opportunities in a month. And because I did that with my challenges, it caused me to make profit passing the challenges. But with me, I'm trying to stick to one time frame with the funded accounts, but with that, I'm taking less trades and it's taking me longer to get out of drawdown versus my challenges are doing way much better. So that's the only thing that's been in my like mind and stuff like that. I'm doing way better on my challenges due to the fact that I'm switching up my time frames. So that's just the one thing like saying like should I probably should just stick to the one time frame, but at the same time I do understand how to trade with different time frames a lot. And that's why you would see me like the challenges I've been taking. Like sometimes you may see me take a 1 minute entry, a 4 hour entry, 15 minute, and so on. Like there's probably now that I'm looking at it, there's probably like a lower time frame entry in here. Yeah, there was something here while I was talking on a 1 minute. Yeah, there was like something here. I mean, not really. It kind of broke through. I would have waited for price to get above here. When you're looking back in price action to see if you would have take a trade, you got to be really honest with yourself too. Me looking at this, I don't think I would have took anything here, only because it did break a little bit right here, and then I would have probably waited for the clear of this high first for another setup. So yeah, I wouldn't have taken, even though this is clear in hindsight right here, I wouldn't have taken this right here. So it's like when you're looking to improve, you just gotta be extremely honest. Because being dishonest with yourself with trading is gonna have negative effects. Because if you're dishonest with what you would have did, then how you're gonna know what to potentially do next time? But yeah, me looking at this, there's probably some nice, dude, like it could probably set up something nice for a challenge. But yeah, looks like it's about to clear the high for what I'm waiting for my regular entries. Did it clear it? I can't really see. Let me delete this. Yeah, it cleared it. So more waiting for me. It's basically after this candle closes, I'll wait for another candle to print like that for a 5 minute entry. But in the meantime, since I'm waiting for fund of the account entries, I'm gonna be looking for potential challenge account entries because the this can potentially give a challenge entry on a 1 minute, which is way faster and stuff like that. So the three time frames for a 1 minute entry, the time frames I use for it is the 1 minute as the entry, the 6 minutes is my like validation time frame, and a 1 hour is basically the context time frame. So you're basically gonna see the same cycle happening, the same process I use, but with different time frames. Because time frames are just a way to see how orders are coming in at a specific time. They're not this thing where like I don't view time frames as a one all like this time frame is the best time frame to trade or anything like that. I basically just use alignment. So if I'm using this as the highest time frame to establish the direction for a 1 minute, see that this has a nice bullish cycle. We have the 6 minute we flushed right here, came down, we paused nicely against the 10. We moved higher. So basically, if I'm taking a 1 minute entry with this, I'll wait for price to pause against the 10, 20, and at that point, it would probably look like this price action right here, where it came down nicely. Then I'll wait for a setup, and as long as it's projected nicely, I'll take like a 1 minute trade. I will probably take it for only one challenge because the 1 minute happens extremely fast. So I don't want to be rushing to enter into multiple challenges at once. So I'll probably take this on I'll take this on my phase 2 challenge because if I can pass that as fast as possible, I can add more funding. So my that's basically really my plan. Like even though I'm not really finding the trades I want to much trades for my funded accounts, my whole idea is in the meantime while I'm trading these different time frames, I can potentially pass other challenges um on the side, add more capital, and then by the time I do find a nice trade entry for my funded accounts, I'll have way more funding, which means way more money for the same amount of work I'm doing. So that's basically my thought process with that. So just think about it like if I pass the 100K for phase 2, I'll be $300,000 funded, and the payouts will be way bigger. And then while I'm waiting for funded account trades, I can pass the rest. So I have 500K in challenges right now. I still have a 200K that I need to work on. I'm close to losing the 200K. That one was a risk of 1.5% per trade. Certain trades I couldn't do it, but overall I'm almost on there to losing it. So, and then I have a 100K challenge that's a bit in profit. I think that's the one I'm logged in right here. Yeah, this one is just a bit in profit. And then I have one in, I think 3% drawdown. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm just trying to work on the ones that make the most sense. That's gonna give me like the most results. Yeah, ooh, wonder what else. Wonder what else. Wonder what else I could talk about. Let's talk about like why I'm not trading the other markets right now. They're not ready for me. Let's just talk about that while I'm still waiting. Well, I'm not trading gold. The reason why I'm not trading gold is because I like to trade with like the overall like the overall direction of price. Cause my edge is basically positioning myself to get like a potential large trend. So if I can get like example, like if I let's just say this was an entry for me, like there was a nice pause right here. It came to the MAs. If I can get a trade right here, this is an example. There's so many ways to manage. I have tested like a lot of ways of management, but my most recent is basically just once I'm in the trade, I'm holding the position until price breaks that the 10. So in this case, like right here. So that's where my edge lies is basically catching it with the overall trend, and I can't do it if price is going in the opposite way, right? So the rule is basically I if price closes under the 10, which is the black line, and it's at least a 2R, I'll close the trade. So if price ended up closing right here, that's where I will close it. But sometimes it can keep going and keep going. So that's where my edge basically lies. So the fact that gold is doing the opposite. So if I'm looking at the context time frame right here, we're all the way down here. So I wouldn't even hop on the lower time frames because look, the 30 minute is moving bearish, 5 minute is moving extremely bearish, and this is where a lot of traders would get confused because they don't use time frame alignment on what price is actually doing. So there's no alignment. There's a clash in time frames. Price is not telling you what it wants to do. Because one time frame is telling you bullish, one time frame is telling you bearish. So I need it to align. USD JPY is like the same thing. Let me see what's going on. Like if I look at a daily, like we've been moving bearish, right, overall so far, and look at the 5 hour. No, it started this bullish move right here. So yeah, honestly, before I would even look for a bullish move, I would need something to. I would need like a story to happen on the daily. Let me just go back to Bitcoin because I was watching real quick to see if anything is setting up because I was watching it lower time frame. Okay, I can still watch. It's basically the same thing. I need another candle to come down. So that's why I wouldn't trade USD JPY. US 30. Let's see. I wouldn't trade this either because look at this. What do I see in this price action? Choppiness. It doesn't look clear. It doesn't look like clean price action. Look at it. When I look at this, I see weirdness. That's what I would call it. So when you come to a market and you see something that doesn't look like something you're used to see it, why trade it? Just ignore it. Like I'm looking for bearish price action based on the, the daily so far. Even though like overall US 30 on we're bullish right now. We're bullish. But if I'm starting from the daily, we can see that there's some bearish price action. So there's some chance like there's some room to make some bearish moves. But this clash of time frames, look, this one is going bullish while the higher time frame is telling me bearish. And then it's the same thing for stocks basically. They're doing the same thing. Example with why I wouldn't watch Euro USD because I had a good trade in US Euro USD. But there's times where you should trade a market and times where you should just stay out. So an example like this is I'm overall bullish on this thing right here, but the area that we're in right here, we're not doing much. Like we're probably consolidating right now, but it's choppy in this area. So me entering a trade on a 5 minute time frame when the higher time frame is in a choppy area, the likelihood is me getting chopped out. So my whole goal is to avoid taking unnecessary losses. My my goal is to take wins, losses, and break evens in a good area. And when I start to take losses in random areas, right, in an area that is not good with my system, then my results will be more randomized. But as long as I'm taking trades in an area that I'm used to seeing, that usually makes a trend, then I'm setting myself up. I'm setting myself up for success when that trend plays out as well. It's like something like this too. USD CAD is showing me bearish price action, but right now, 30 minute is just moving sideways. It's just moving sideways in this area. So me trading a 5 minute is not gonna really be good in terms of what I'm trying to get out. I need a trend to unfold where it just keeps going and going. USD CHF, I think this was bearish. Like, we've been moving lower, but it's just a clash of time frames. The 30 minute is moving bullish, so I just ignore that. So even though I can have all these on my watch list, it doesn't mean I'm trading everything. Let's go back to Bitcoin real quick so I can make sure I'm not missing anything. Here we go. I like how fractal price can get to like the same 6 minute validation that I'm looking to take a 1 minute entry looks the exact same as the 30-minute validation for me to take a 5 minute entry. So it's just different time frames for different entries I use for the same thing. You can honestly see that. Got the flush, break structure one, break structure two. Need another move down to the M8s. It looks similar to this validation for the 1 minute. We have the flush, break structure one, potentially is trying to form the second one. So we gotta wait another 6 minutes right here. So the reason why I'm waiting right here for this candle to print is I need alignment at area where it makes sense for price to come out of with structure. That's why. So I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna see if I get another challenge trade. And I'm gonna see. I'm gonna give this also 30 more minutes to stay on the charts to basically decide if it's worth staying on the charts. Because if price ends up clearing this high like this for me to take a 5 minute entry, because the live streams are basically to show just funded accounts mainly. Um Funded accounts mainly. So if price takes out this high within this 30 minutes, I'm gonna hop off the charts because then I would have to wait another 30 minutes, and at that time it will probably be like 11:30, and then on top of that I would have to wait for another setup. So I don't know how long that may take after 12 as well. So I'm just basically just reading the story on what decision I should make. But right now I can still stay on the charts. This looks good so far. Could come a little bit closer. We can just make a straight move down like that. There was one quote I heard, and it's stick to the plan and not your mood. I don't know where exactly it came from, but stick to the plan and not your mood. Even though you feel like you wanna go crazy and just go crazy with the markets, you need to just stick to the plan. And one thing you gotta do it as well is just when you're trading, take accountability for your actions. I see a lot of the times traders, like whenever they would make a mistake, whenever they take a loss, they're blaming everything but themselves. Like I understand that the markets can be more volatile because of the terrorists and everything, but what you gotta understand is you shouldn't be nobody should be blaming Trump for the markets or for why they took a loss. Because you gotta understand you took the risk on a trade. Um yeah, you basically took the risk, nobody else. So you if you notice like never once during this when I started streaming this year have I ever blamed tariffs, Trump for taking a loss or whatever. Just take accountability. That's the only way you can improve though. If you can't and if you have too much of an ego to even take accountability, how can you improve? Because you're gonna be constantly blaming everybody but the one who took the trade. Because once you take accountability, you can be like, okay, how can I not make this mistake again? And that's how you really improve. That's how you get better. Is by recognizing, okay, what could I have done better? Did I do something wrong? Did I follow the plan as best as possible? And if I didn't, what can I do better next time to ensure that, you know, I'm better in the future? Okay, let me go on the lower time frame to see where is it at. I still would like, even though it's in making something here, I still would like for it to be a bit closer because it just stopped exactly at the 20, didn't even come at a little bit closer. So, yeah, honestly, yeah, I don't like this area anymore because instead of a straight move down, like if I'm drawing it from this angle right here, it's starting to look weird based on what I expect. It's starting to look a bit weird. Mm. Actually, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. If it did something like where it's, I'm gonna have to observe it. I'm gonna have to really observe it to see what it's doing. Because if it's just starts to move back and forth in this area, then I can be like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna ignore this price action. But I'm gonna just see what price is telling me in this area. Okay, it's coming down closer to that 50 right here. That's exactly what I wanted to see. So I can do this straight move down like that. Mm. So what I can do is I would give this one chance to set up because if price ends up like basically failing, I will view this as consolidation. If price like tries to set up but it ends up failing, or if it ends up setting up nicely, right? At that point, I'll probably be at break even. And if it ends up failing after, then I'll consider it invalid. Because these are one of the areas where it probably needs to set up like immediately like this if it really wants to go. So yeah, I would take a trade like this for like a challenge. I'm gonna do phase two only, and only aim for like a 1-to-1 because with my challenges for Seacrest or my funded FX, whatever you want to call them, um, it needs at least 3 days of $500. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do small risk, aiming for $500 for those trades, so I can get those days completed, and then I'm whatever next trade I ever place can potentially pass it. So that's my game plan. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually get this prepared by. Notice how I always just prepare myself. So I'm gonna prepare myself by already logging into my challenge account, having Bitcoin already open. Because keep in mind this is a 1 minute time frame, so things can move a lot faster. Just imagine, like imagine it just pushed up right here, and then I'm now trying to hurry up to get to the thing, and I'm not prepared. I can easily make a mistake. What's the spreads looking like too? The spreads looking like spreads is pretty wide. Them spreads, I ain't gonna lie, them spreads is kind of wild. Yeah, I'm not going. Yeah, I was looking at the 1 minute time frame for this challenge, but them spreads is wild right there. Nah, I ain't going to take no trades here. Like if the spreads was lower, I would have took it like a trade, but like you gotta keep in mind the spreads too, because if the spreads are way too big for your time frame of entry, it can give you a disadvantage. And with me, I want to give myself as much advantage as possible when I'm placing a trade. So even though this looks like it can really set up nicely, I'm gonna just ignore it. Yeah. Oh, so the only thing for me to really do, the only thing that makes sense for me to do right now is to just wait for my regular entry on a 5 minute to set up. Yeah, delete those. Wait for my regular entry to set up because the 1 minute the spreads are way too wide. So we have basically 15 minutes. Within this on time, this is where I'm going to decide whether I should stay on the charts or not. Yeah. long as you have that mentality of like keep going, like that persistence, you can't fail at anything. You won't. Just think about it. If you're at it as one thing over and over, even if it takes you 10 years, like you're eventually gonna get it. The best skill to have is just the will to like just not give up. 'Cause at that point, you're not failing. You're gonna have setbacks. But setbacks aren't failure. Setbacks are basically those are what fuels your the new highs in life and whatever. Setbacks are basically the pullbacks in an uptrend. That's what a setback is. So you telling me like if this is like you're like this is basically what your this is basically what it looks like. If you this is if you start something and you do it over and over and over, this is basically how you get better. This is what your life will look like, basically. It ain't gonna be easy. I didn't say it was gonna be easy, but if you're constantly doing it, you're not gonna fail. The problem is many people stop right here. Many people stop right here. Just not even just a deep one. Many people stop for from the slightest sign of a setback. And the moment they stop at the slightest sign of a setback is the moment they fail. Why do they fail? Why is it considered a failure when they stop right here? Because they don't even get the chance to continue higher. Just imagine if just let's just say the market just stopped right here, it didn't go any higher, and it just stayed right there, didn't move at all. It didn't make no new highs. It's considered failure. It kept moving, even if it took years. Look, from this point, from the time it took a new make a new high right here. This is why I say it took 1,000 days to make a new high. This is what persistence look like in your life. It doesn't matter how long it takes you, but the fact that you're still going, you're still going, you're still going, that's what makes improvement. So you make the new highs, and you're on a good run. You're on a good run. Oh no, but now you're prepared because you experienced this before. You know what it takes to continue higher. You go higher. Oh no, setbacks, persistence, 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 setback, persistence. That's all it is. That's all it is. So just think about your any skill you doing as a huge trend on a market, and as long as you keep going, you're gonna be a part of that trend. Gonna be a part of that trend. Yup, it's all about patience. I wonder what else I could talk about. Hmm. Like this right here is a like since we're just right here and we're just waiting. We talk about this is a good example of if price didn't stop me out right here. This is a good example of me. I would have been still in this trade right here if price didn't stop me out. Example, I would have just been waiting for price to close below the 20, at least above a 2R. So this closed right here, but it wasn't above a 2R. Right, stuff like that makes it easy to recover on losses rules, consistently following rules. Yeah. What else can I talk about? Yeah, I don't think price is even gonna do anything. Hmm. Let me see. So it has 7 minutes. Actually, I gotta think. I have to wait the 7 minutes to see because anything can happen where it closes. It can end up closing down here during those 7 minutes. It can end up closing up here during the 7 minutes. Let me. I'm gonna make my decision when it closes. When it closes. Let's see. 5 minutes. What other value I can give? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is since price is gonna close, it looks like it's gonna close right here. if I were to assume that price we're gonna set up, so these are 5 minute candles. So let's just assume it closes right here in the next. That's 11:30. Um, yeah, 40, yeah, 45. It could do something. Mm, what else I got? Okay, so what I'm seeing here is, let me see. So this is, let me see. Yeah, I think it's worth still staying on the chart for now. Close at 35, 40. Yeah, I'll stay on the chart. Let's see. If it starts to play around in this area, then for a few minutes, then I'm gonna leave the charts. But for now, it does seem like it could make some setup right here. Yeah. Looks similar to right here. Okay, it's coming down nicely, like how I'm expecting it to. That's actually perfect. Yeah, it's perfect. Now it's worth me waiting to see if it wants to set up cleanly. This is the exact potential snowflake I was talking about earlier in the stream, where setups like this will happen similarly. They will happen, but they might have slight differences, but the overall concept is the same. Like how this one had more deeper pullbacks. This was more of a, how would I say it? It's more tight right here. Right? I don't even think that was the word, but yeah, that's basically, it looks similar basically. Like moving my trace like this. If I do end up on getting a trade, it's gonna be the same thing where I'm gonna be entering for my funded account first. But if I have enough time, I will try to enter into a challenge as well. But my main focus is definitely that funded account. So far, everything is moving slightly good. There's a little more waiting to do. So far, everything is still moving decent. We can close somewhat like above here. I'll be happy because at that point, the next candle that prints can open above right here and potentially reject against the MH, for my entry above the high. So That's what I'm waiting for. I will if I have to wait a few minutes after 12, only because it's essentially setting up and it still has a good amount of volume in the market as well, based on the candles. But other than that, if it starts to be playing around for a long time in this area, then I'm gonna just hop off. All right. So this candle, like I said, I'm gonna give it a few more minutes only because the volume is still there. This is coming back through here. This is actually not too bad to set up a stop above here. Yeah, because it could, if it could on reject during that time frame, then yeah, it could reject that 20. So I'm gonna prepare something above it. I do have to be quick with it. So, and I gotta watch my phone as well to make sure. um I get it in time to see what it's basically doing. So alright, let me set it above. That's decent. Damn, I can't do more risk. I can only risk 0.33. Damn, they violated. That's the one thing with lower time frame. You can't really risk what you want to risk. Either way, it's not looking good on TradingView so far. There's no way to. I'm not trying to risk that now. Whatever. There's 45 seconds left. It's not. It's still not looking good to place the order either way. But just in case it wants to set up nicely with the rejection in the last 30 seconds. Alright, so it didn't do what I wanted. So let me show y'all. See, we just broke back through, but it could still set something up, so I'm gonna wait these few minutes. So if we can push close like above, had that rejection on it. I'm happy to take an opportunity. This is in terms of how it's moving. That yeah, that's perfect. This looks extremely good. Like you can just tell the volume coming in. I'm gonna get everything prepared. All right. So me looking at this, I'm actually hop off the charts right now because it may take a little bit longer for it to set up, and yeah, because of it falling back down like this, I was trying to give it one chance to just set up in this area and go. This is still a clean looking area to look for potential, but for right now, I'll hop off the charts. It's getting a bit late.